Salamat po.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Steve's got yet again another day off, and this is Rich from the Philippines filling in. Rich is my name, so it's not that I'm like rich in pesos. You get it. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something today. Yes, the subject matter is a little overblown up there, but bear with me just for a second here. When I grew up in Silicon Valley, I think I've told you that before, the weather was constant. It was between, I don't know, 62 and 74 degrees in Silicon Valley every day. The weather report was super boring. It never really changed, and it wasn't that big of a deal. So move forward to when I moved back to the Midwest, and then I started working in broadcast. And one of the properties that I represented was the Weather Channel. Now, I had no idea that the Weather Channel was so popular. As a matter of fact, my mind was blown at the number of viewers that it had. I just couldn't get over it. And then I kind of discovered why. Well, first off, you'd go into businesses and they would have the Weather Channel and the feed going on below it. And secondly, the thing is that in the Midwest, what do you talk about with your coffee? Can you believe this weather? Well, it's going to change in 2 seconds anyway. So, you know, and literally the weather was a huge deal. And I remember when I first moved there, before I started working with the Weather Channel, I would say, just open your window, put your head out, look to see. And then, of course, I discovered that with tornadoes and hail and rain and sleet and heat, that the weather really was a big deal in the Midwest. So, and I'm going to use one of my terms I really like, fast forward to today in the Philippines. The last 5 or 6 weeks, maybe a little bit more, I interact with a lot of Filipinos, and I love it. And one of the things that keeps coming up, and at first I joked about it. I'd say, hey, ¿cómo está, po? How's it going? And they would say things like, oh my God, it's so hot. And my response always was, and still is, you're in the Philippines. What do you expect? You've lived here all your life. And then, they joke and laugh, and we go on and talk about something else. But it's continued. And not only that, like, remember snow days when we were growing up, and especially in the Midwest, they were a big deal. And we did not get snow days that often in the Midwest unless and now there's two flurries in Atlanta and they shut down the entire town. Or Texas, imagine that, having snow in Texas. The point being is that in the last, I want to say, I just discovered this, in the last 2 or 3 months, they've had heat days where they've literally dismissed school because children were fainting. So, and I'm not here to talk about the politics of climate change. I'm talking about kids that don't know any atom that are literally falling down of heat exhaustion. Granted, I guess you could keep them inside, but some schools don't have AC, which leads to my place, and my AC is pretty busy. So that's not the point. The point is that they're actually having heat days here. My one friend, I was talking to her just 2 days ago, and again, I have a wide variety of Filipino friends, of all different shapes and forms, all different school, college degrees, all different friends. And this was somebody, and she works for the government, and she's actually a nurse, very well educated. And so she was, complaining about the heat, and I gave my line, well, you're in the Philippines. And she said, I know, Po. However, it's gotten hotter. She goes, most definitely gotten hotter the last 2 years. And I said, really? You think so? She's like, oh, yeah. She goes, it's starting sooner and it's staying hotter longer. And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, oh, okay. And then, I actually looked at the records and discovered that, I mean, even the Filipino government and school boards and colleges they're saying, I think it's like 0.01 centigrade a decade, which even sounds low to me, that it's going up and up and up, and that they're having incredible heat zones here in the Philippines. And again, part of it, and I get this too, and don't, please, don't tell me about, the common sense issues, because they're saying that a lot of this is happening in Manila. A lot of this is happening in places where there's no trees, where there's a lot of concrete, where there's a lot of roads. Go figure. But the point is that the temperature and the ocean is creeping, creeping, creeping in and out here, as is other countries. So I guess that I shouldn't really be surprised that, that there's nothing, there's no pass just because we're in the Philippines, maybe even less of a pass because we are in the Philippines. However, my whole point of this video is just like, I really would like to know from some of you longer term, because I'm just 2 years, just about. And to me, I haven't really noticed that much of a heat rise. And to me, we're in the Philippines. That's what I keep telling my Filipino friends. What do you expect? We're in the Philippines. And they laugh and they say, yeah, I know, I know. I'd like to ask people that have been here longer, 7, 8 years, what do you think? I mean, have you noticed it? Have you seen it? Have you felt it? I really, I'm really curious, because to me, it doesn't seem that hot. It doesn't seem like it's changed. But again, I've only been here 2 years. I'd love to hear your feedback on what area you're in. Is it getting hotter for you? Is it, I can't imagine that, it's the same as in America. With that, what I mean is that people want to talk about the weather. And like I said, when I was living on the West Coast, when the weather didn't change, and even when I moved to the Midwest and started working with Weather Channel, I still thought it was, I don't know, kind of ridiculous that, we watched the Weather Channel. It's watched religiously, and the numbers prove it. The advertising dollars prove it. So what's your thoughts? Let me know. This has been Rich with the heat here in the Philippines.